not bad. I like that.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Speedway Stories and Cold Blooded Conversations. I got my buddy Jeff on here with us, which is one of the guys on the channel. Welcome tonight. I'm gonna bring up my son. Jeff. I'm actually gonna have the boy come on tonight. He wants to come on for a little bit.
All right.
With us, so.
I'm good.
What's going on, buddy?
What's up, sir?
How are you?
You're that 9 foot tall beast that lives in the house. I know.
Yep. Yeah, you were the talk of the night Saturday night standing behind me. So
yeah.
Of course I was.
Well, Saturday nights is one of those nights where it's like we don't plan anything, and then you walked in the background. We're like, "Holy shit! There's a monster in your house."
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So what do you got for us today, Wally? I got your background set. I set up your background.
Thank you, sir. So, what do you guys want to talk about tonight on the anything on the Speedway stuff or any reptile stuff? Hit me up with it.
I actually have a question. And it's something I've been watching a lot lately, and I don't know why. I've been watching a lot of the German tractor pulls. Like these guys are running like 4 jet engines on go-kart wheels on the front and these 65-inch tires on the back. I don't understand the concept of I understand the concept of how tractor pull and truck pull works. I don't know if I would be able to do it. Does that make sense? Like you know what I mean? Like I'm 90% sure I'm going to stall the truck out. Like even if I'm just grabbing a 3500 Chevy, hooking it up to the back, the whole spinning of the tire to get the spool up. Oh yeah, it's counterintuitive to me.
Right. Well, on the thing is on this, and actually, you want to go ahead and take this, bud. You can know a little bit about this. Kind of explain a little bit how that works.
Most times, people put it up in hyperdrive when they go to spin their tires, but not always. It just depends on the truck pull you have.
Understood.
It also depends on the speed of the truck and the weight behind it.
Well,
right.
On that too, with the truck and tractor pulling, especially like in the pro stocks and the modified class, basically actually all pulling, they have to have their RPMs. They have a set limit on their RPMs, and they release the clutch once they hit that RPMs. But now with like what you were talking, Jeff, the modifieds like that, they literally have to have those things are spooling up with those multi-engines or those turbo engines. They're almost up to 10,000 RPM before they let the clutch out on those to go.
Oh yeah, some of those trucks I saw one the other day. It had like 22,000 horsepower. I was like, I can't fathom that. I'm a speed guy. I know cars. I know the definition of horsepower, but 22,000 horsepower. I know people that can't handle a 100 horsepower truck.
Right, but I mean, it's just trying to put all that. They're trying to put that all down on dirt. And it basically, I've seen it's online. They've had it where those rear wheels on a lot of those tractors and modified, they're spinning almost 200 miles an hour, and it's like they're barely moving.
Yeah,
because of that when they release. So,
no, there was a guy. He lived, I think, maybe a mile down the road, and he had a modified truck pulling truck.
Nice.
And I'm talking, I lived in a valley, and this guy was easily a mile and a half away. And if he would start that sucker, we knew it. You'd be in the living room, be like, yeah, he's starting the truck.
Yep. It's one of those deals.
There's nothing better than that exhaust sound. The sound of those vehicles are just
Well, now it's to the
I'm excited.
Now the point, the boys showed me some things of those German pulls. They're using giant turbines. I mean, it's like one big giant turbine. It's not a multiple
jet motors.
Yeah, it's one big wheel, and it's like, how the hell did they get those things to work? But they did.
Yeah, I watched a guy the other day, and not to get off the subject of pulling, but I watched a guy the other day. He's got a T-bucket Ford from like 1920, something like that.
Right.
But he's running 4 V8s with 8 superchargers.
That thing's been in Hot Rod Magazine.
Fishing.
I got a copy of that Hot Rod Magazine, actually. He runs, and they're all flathead V8s.
Yeah.
But
it's all running to one transmission. I'm like, how do you sync like the mind of these people? Because I know I can set up multiple V8s. That's easy. Setting them up to one drive line, heads explode.
On like the multi-engine modifieds, they actually have one drivetrain that comes off in the one, they call it a planetary, but it's driven by two major shafts. Like if you got four motors, one shaft on each side runs those 2 motors when it goes in the gear, is what it's
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
so running the planetary gear, because like they were doing an interview with this guy, and he was saying that he built his planetary gear and he had to use titanium, which I was like, well, that's expensive right there.
Yeah.
2 titanium gears that he went through 8 of them before he got it right. And I was like, how much money you got to burn?
Bobby.
That sounds about right.
Because
with those gears, those planetary gears, it's kind of like having a like rock crawlers where they have the split shifters in them for the gears. These planetary gears, they basically have that where it operates, where it'll sync in all 4 motors. They have them and everything else with the drivetrain on those planetary gears. They're not cheap, that's for sure.
No.
Titanium, I can only imagine what that bill was.
Well, I think he owns like a major company that is also has its own machine shop. So I'm sure for him it would be cheaper than if you and I did it, because he owns a machine shop. We don't, But the titanium alone was just, my head exploded. He said titanium, and my wallet ran away.
Your wallet, your house, and everything else. When he said that crap.
Well, and then I was watching another guy. That's something I wanted to ask you, and I've been meaning to ask you. Have you seen the tug of war trucks?
Oh yeah.
But these guys, they run Mickey Thompson 50s all the way around.
Right.
And they're on a drag strip. Do they have anything like that in Ohio?
Yeah, they actually they put them on. They have the tug wars now. It's actually, they got a pad at the mud runs. Majority of the big mud runs.
Do they really?
Yeah, but mud runs are kind of dying off here in Ohio now since you left, man. It's gotten kind of scary stuff. But when they do,
because I was the best at it. I'm just saying.
Well, there's a show that they put on like in Texas. It's called Rednecks with Paychecks. They got a huge like 100-foot pad that they do stuff with the tugs on it still. They do the wars. But yeah, not so much up around here. It's kind of died off because the insurance is killing them up here.
Well, it's not just the insurance. It's the cost to build that. The Mickey Thompson 50 alone, that's like a $300 tire. You need 4 of them. And then, of course, you got to strengthen everything and get everything. I watch these things on YouTube and I'm like, well, that truck's $100,000. It doesn't look like it, but it is.
Oh yeah.
It may look like a 95 Gen 1 Dodge, but it's $100,000 every day, all day.
Really, the closest like mud runs, everything we got around here that are worth anything is actually in Michigan. There's a guy I watch on YouTube that he goes and films them. Man, it's just insane.
That Truck's Gone Wild?
It's called Buddy 713. It's Michigan. It's a Michigan off-road.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing the crap.
I watched that Truck's Gone Wild where, I don't know, this guy, he goes around the country.
It's part of the redneck part of Paychecks. He travels all the watch mega trucks and all that
and
stuff.
Some of those trucks are just A, gorgeous, and B, way out of my price range.
Well, some of those people, you look at them when you see them get out, it's like, how do you afford something like this?
Yeah, well, you selling meth on the side, calm down, Breaking Bad. Yeah, it's one of those weird things, but the beauty of when it comes to mud running, at least when we did it when we were kids, because we're grown adults now, we can't do that stuff because we have families and.
Well, we get in trouble now for it because everywhere we used to go, you're not allowed there no more.
Towers. I used to dominate towers. I'm just saying. There's very few people that can take a two-wheel drive S10 through towers. I've done it twice, so
they block that off now. You get caught over there. They instantly impound you and take your ass to jail now for that shit. Yeah, they got rid of
the good thing they never did it when I was a kid.
Oh no! Well, we also may have been out having fun, but at least we respected the farmers' fields that were by the places.
Yeah, that's the kicker. Well, you can always tell the guys that drove through the farmers' fields because their hoods were all dented from the corn.
Yeah, but that's what started down. I don't know if you remember. Been so long ago. Remember a place called Bat Nest going out towards Mohawk Dam? That me and
yeah.
Well, they're now officially pretty much putting a stop to that now because people are disrespecting private property. So now
it comes down to, I think another thing, it's kind of like those. Have you ever seen those street corner takeovers?
Oh yeah, they've ruined a lot of shit, man.
It comes down to the newer generation. You know, they end up drinking way too much. Then they decide to do this. Where when we were kids, you know, we used to cruise Fifth Avenue.
Oh yeah, all the time
for hours
and everything. Well, we'd cruise
a couple hours in a tank full of gas.
You used to go downtown, go cruising, and we'd hit up after midnight. We kicked it and went up to Park Ave until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's just people's ruined it because they got irresponsible. There's been too much.
Well, not that we were responsible about it. I would leave Park Ave and have to go buy a new set of tires.
I think everybody.
I'm that asshole. Asshole.
That or we had to go to the bank because we needed money from buying Taco Bell all night long.
Yeah, that too. Well, it's like Glick and I were talking about it the other day. It's like I got banned from drive. I had that '87 Chevy Astro van.
Yep.
And I had way too much money in the motor. But I got banned from driving to school for like 3 months because as I left one day, I had a brand new set of tires and they were used by the time I was done. I didn't even leave. I was just sitting there, just rolling smoke. And it took 20 minutes for somebody else to leave.
Hey, Benji. Hey, Jeff. Throw the link into the comments so Benji can jump on here and we can talk some formula racing with him. So we can get some education on that, man. If he wants to jump on. Come on in, Benji, and jump in and I want to
Benji, if you can. And Benji, by the way, check your fucking WhatsApp, dude. Because I've sent you like 50 messages, including the GTD times. On Jeff's Garage one day, we were talking about the new Ford GTD. That Mustang GTD?
Yeah.
It's a $320,000 Mustang.
Oh, he just said he no longer has that phone, Jeff. So he's gonna.
That's probably why.
Yeah,
I'll give you a call. But they took it on the Nürburgring finally.
Really?
Sub-7.
Nuh-uh.
Sub-7 in a Mustang.
Wasn't that what you were telling me about? You and your buddy Lee was watching when you were up there in his house, checking that out, going over there.
That thing is sick.
It's wicked.
But at the end of the day, I still can't justify $300,000 on a Mustang.
I mean, I can see it in a way, but in a way I can't.
Well, Benji actually explained it to me really well. They're getting rid of the Ford GT.
Yep.
And the Mustang GTD is replacing it.
Yeah, that's a road course car.
It's still a fucking Mustang. Give it a cooler name. Give it something different.
Right. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those deals. I mean, but still, the Ford GT is what put Ford on the map, man. I'm sorry, but the Mustang ain't going to be the ultimate road course car.
I agree, Benji. They can definitely get it a little bit faster if they tune it a little bit. Unfortunately, they don't have somebody like Ken Miles that can drive it.
Yeah. It's just going to take, like he said, it's just going to take a good tuner. It's going to take somebody that can, handle that and get it where get it its peak performance. I mean, that's with any car any polling, you know.
Well, I think especially on the Nürburgring, that's like, sorry, bucket list kind of thing.
Right.
I have to run the Nürburgring, even if I'm doing it in a fucking station wagon. I don't care what I'm doing it in. I don't necessarily want to go fast on it. I want to hit 100 tops because that track scares the shit out of me.
I want to go.
That track scares the shit out of me. Well, the Autobahn, let's be honest, if you're brave enough, every road is the Autobahn, if you're brave enough.
Yeah.
But the beauty of, from Belleville to the Career Center was always the Autobahn at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm just saying.
That's for anybody going, especially on 13. That was everybody's. Let's see how fast.
And 13 is like dead straightaway.
Yep. Till you hit close to Vernon, then you got to.
Yeah. And if you know what you're doing, you can get those curves just right.
Oh yes.
Well, you've seen the movie Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So at the end of the movie, Morgan Freeman's character gets off a bus and walks up a dirt road. The corner that he takes is in Butler, Ohio.
Yeah, and that wasn't too far from your old house, wasn't it?
Yeah, a stone's throw.
That's what
I used to take. I had an '86 Mustang GT coupe, which the only thing I hated about it was the coupe, and I used to come around that corner, and I realized that if you go from third to first, you can drift that corner like you read about.
All righty, I got a quick question. The boy, sure. Why don't you just fill us in on the stuff that I've introduced you to and what you like for your motorsports, man?
What is your motorsport of choice?
Me personally, I like demo derby, and I like rough truck. Last year
rough truck looks like fun.
Last year in June was my first time driving.
Yeah, he got the run.
It looks fun, but it hurts my kidneys to watch it.
Oh, it's fun, especially when you turn the corner going up a hill.
Yeah, but like it's a funny thing with me. I don't have the same issues as everybody else my age because I work at a desk, so I don't have back problems. I don't have knee problems and stuff like that. But I can see as I watch Tough Truck, I can see my spine compress.
Oh, mine actually loosened up. Like I tensed up at first, but then I was like, I got this. This is the fucking easiest thing I've ever done.
You kind of got to ragdoll it. You got to ragdoll your body for something like that.
And the adrenaline rush is amazing.
Oh yeah. I'd like to, another bucket list thing for me is the trophy truck racing where they're on a speedway, but they got jumps throughout it. Oh my God, that looks like so much fun.
Yeah, where they done that? Yeah, I've seen a couple of them, but man, you try the only way you can find that now is it's on that Flow Racing channel, and it's like $100 a month. It's like $80 a month to subscribe to that.
I watch it on YouTube. I watch it on YouTube. I don't mind watching motorsports, but I don't want to unless I'm there. Just like if I'm watching regular sports like football or something like that. If I'm there. 100% in the entire time. I'll throw that up there.
That's him running.
Was that a Colorado?
Yes, it is. It's her cousin's. My cousin's Colorado that he was running. My wife's cousin. So
good use of a Colorado because those first gen Colorados are kind of junk.
Well, you'll be amazed when you see that thing come out this next summer when I show you a video of it.
But like to watch motorsports on TV, there's got to be something else on to watch. Here's that Colorado that we were just talking about.
Yep, that was his first time. It was muddy. It took the
you got fucking low profile tires on it.
Yep.
Nice. That's some shit I would do.
Those are actually the factory steel rims off of a 2-wheel drive that was put on that. That's why they look the way. Yeah. What is
that?
But they look like low pro. 40
side profile on that tire. Jesus, that's hilarious.
But yeah, that was his first time. We kind of had a surprise for him. He kind of figured there was something going on when I asked him for his helmet.
Right.
Because I told him I was going to clean it up and everything just so it was clean, and then we went and he got to run that night. So yeah, it was kind of a sloppy night, and it threw him up on the hill. So, but he still finished once he got off.
Oh, I drifted that corner as hard as I could too. Like the wheel wanted to go, but it wouldn't.
Well, yeah, but that it doesn't. It's a more of a the if you unless you did something to the transfer case, it's kind of a one wheel squealer. It doesn't have posi.
No, it didn't help when we welded the rear end, so it just pushed us one direction.
Oh, so you did? Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it.
That don't work too well in the mud.
No,
not turning.
Well, I've seen there's a new kind of racing, and they do it a bunch of older oval tracks for like street fairs and stuff like that. But it's like it's run what you brung 2 laps.
Really?
Okay, yeah.
And I've been watching these, and some of them are hilarious because some guy will show up in a fucking 2002 Town and Country up against a
the autocross.
Yeah, well, it's not even autocross. It's literally just a circle track.
Oh, they're doing the circle track one? Okay.
It's a asphalt circle track, slightly banked, not highly banked, but just banked enough, and they do 2 laps. And whoever crosses the line first wins. And there he is. And I don't know what they call it. Benji, what's up, dude?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Happy New Year, sir. I haven't talked to you since last year.
I know. It's been a while. I'm
Thanks
busy
for coming
all the time.
on.
Yeah.
What is new in the Formula One world there, Benj?
All kinds of drivers have moved.
Really?
Like, tons of drivers swapping teams, getting rid of some people, bringing some young guys in. Lewis Hamilton is now repping Ferrari, no longer Mercedes.
Really?
He's off my list. He's made the list of assholes.
That's the last time me and my boy sat and watched it was when he was still racing for them. That's crazy. I guess money talks and bullshit walks, right? In the game,
pretty much.
Better program.
Well, I know his contract's $50 million.
Holy cow!
Must be rough.
With us.
Yeah, it's terrible. I could only imagine. But
how does he live?
I don't know, man. If you've ever listened to those guys talk and how much they travel 300 plus days a year. So what do you do with that money? How are you supposed to spend it when you're continuously gone?
You save it for retirement.
Man, you could retire off one season. So the season starts February 8th. Well, they just got done racing in December. Like the off season.
I bet you Christmas is awesome at Lewis Hamilton's house. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it probably is. He's got a couple of kids. I'm sure it's really nice.
Well, I watched him do an interview recently. He was talking about the peel-offs for your helmet.
Yep.
And apparently you can't just, when it comes to in Formula One, you can't just rip and toss. Because right behind you is the intake for the fucking motor. And then
what they do with them down into the side then when he
that's what I thought. Well, he said you can't take them off to the side because then it goes into the vents for the brakes.
Right.
Yep.
And then the interview stopped because like it was one of those YouTube shorts or whatever. And I was like, so what do you do with it? My thought is you literally just pull it off and throw it in your cabin because if you throw it outside the car, you risk it going in the brakes and the brakes catching on fire. If you throw it above your head, you risk it going into the motor and then your motor blowing up. And he says when you're driving on Formula One, it's kind of like playing Mario Kart. You have to watch out for other guys tossing out theirs. Really? Because it could go into your brakes, it could go into your motor. I'm like, $50 million, totally worth it. I didn't either. It was something new I learned, and I was like, now I know why he gets $50 million a year. Fucking.
So, fun fact about their brakes. You're talking about fire. You want those brakes as hot as they can possibly get. So when they go into the pits, it starts warming the tires up immediately. Sometimes you'll see them like pop the tires off and the brake is almost on fire. Like it's literally smoking with flames on it because they want them as hot as they can get them. as quick
so,
as
Benji,
possible.
quick question too on that. Like for the road course racing that I've seen overseas, like with the Porsche, Ferrari, everything else, I've noticed the brakes being like that when they've done pit views. Is that basically the same concept?
I would assume, yeah, because you want as much heat. Because there's different compounds. You got soft, medium, hard. It depends on what track. Most of those guys are running the hard tires, medium hard, so because they only do, the minimal amount of pits, right? Because you get Formula One racing, they're not 200 laps. They're 50 laps.
They're not like NASCAR. They're not like NASCAR where they do almost 300 laps and.
But I don't know if those guys. I don't know physically if they could handle that many laps. There's a certain amount of time because the G-forces is just brutal.
I was actually watching. I was watching a guy. There's a YouTube channel called Linus Tech, and he's a computer nut. He builds these crazy computers. But he was showing. He was building a simulator rig, and it's like the force feedback thing that used to simulate the feel of the tires. He says 99% of them that you would buy are set up on easy mode, and they set it up to Formula One mode, and he could barely turn the wheel.
Really?
He said he did a lap, and he had got out, and he was exhausted.
Yeah, it's brutal.
That's why you don't see big guys racing Formula One. It's even
not only that, they can't fit in the car.
They're not very. They may be tall, but they're not like stocky. Most of them aren't real stocky guys.
Did you guys see that one that sim that Aston Martin made? I think it sold for like $65,000. Like that thing's incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my son showed me that. He actually seen it on TikTok that they did. He was seeing it and showed me. I was like, yeah, I'd just rather have the money, not.
Yeah. No way.
It'd be cool.
However, I love Gran Turismo, the game.
Oh yeah.
And to have one of those rigs, because let's be honest, none of us can afford to go out and buy 15, 20 perfect cars to go take on the track and destroy.
Right.
No. So with a game, you can do that and be like, it's the computer. Don't worry about it. So I can understand that, but I did see the most expensive sim out there. It's like 1.2 million. And it's as accurate as it can be. And people like Lewis Hamilton buy those things like they're going out of style.
Oh yeah. But on the Benji, I got another question for you, my man, since I finally got you on here that we can talk this. How far are those Formula cars literally sitting off the ground when they are actually running?
Well, if you watch them from the back, they're scraping on the ground. That's why all the sparks are shooting.
But that explains. Okay, so when they do the bad camera angles and you see the sparks, that's why. Is because they're literally rubbing the ground when they're running. Okay.
So much power in the downforce on the wings. Just
the downforce. It's been proven that a Formula One car at top speed can drive upside down because of the downforce. So if you had a long enough tunnel that had curved sides, you could literally drive on top of the tunnel.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I've been waiting to get you on here since I first started, and I seen you commenting in when I know you're not into the other stuff like I do, the drag racing and everything, but I've been waiting to finally get you on here to talk some formula racing and get some education on it, man.
Once every few months, I get free.
He's a car guy at heart. That's the beauty of it.
I am a car guy at heart.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate NASCAR. I don't dislike drag races. I've been to all that. I really dig European races, racing, and European cars. That just fits my personality better. Every single night I go to sleep to like a GT3 circuit racing for like 24 hours. I just cut those races on and I go to sleep.
Nice.
I'm a Ferrari, Aston Martin, McLaren, Porsche. I'm a fan of all
I can
those.
get behind the Porsche. I can get behind the Aston Martin. I can't get behind the Ferrari thing, dude.
I can.
It's seriously.
You hit all the heads, Jeff. Come on, man. You can't
No. I have a problem with Ferrari, the company. If you gave me $2 billion tomorrow, I would have 1,000 fucking car garage and not a single Ferrari in any of them.
Okay, well we all can't be wrong like you. but that's fine.
I can explain why you're wrong, but that would both be wrong. No, but
Correct.
No, and here's why. Because Wally, you've seen some of the vehicles I've drove, and Benji and I've talked a lot about cars. I can't leave anything stock. Ferrari will send me a cease and desist before I leave the lot.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
Because
but I mean,
I customize everything.
But I mean, that's the thing. The beauty of, I mean, when you're into this kind of community, I mean, like Benji said, the formula racing and his stuff like that. Everybody's got their taste, but all at the end of the day, the cars and stuff bring everybody together. I mean,
100%.
It's just the motorsports thing, and I'm into it all. But my preference is the truck and tractor pulling and drag racing because I get to see it regularly, in person more than I do. But I'm still formula racing. I love it, especially. I mean, like IndyCar. I love watching it. I got to see it a couple of times when it came up to Mid-Ohio Speedway here. I mean, it was freaking neat to actually witness that live.
I got to drive on Mid-Ohio.
Back again.
I got to drive on Mid-Ohio a couple of times.
Lucky.
I used to date a girl that her mom and dad bought their house. Well, their great grandparents bought this house before Mid-Ohio was there. And when Mid-Ohio was built, the family got tickets for drive time on the track for life.
Nice.
And when I was dating her, I went over her house and her mom was like, "Can you help us move this dresser?" I was like, "Sure." And I pulled out the drawer and it was stacked full of drive time tickets. And I'm like, "What's this?" And they're like, "Oh, we have unlimited time on the track." And I was like, "I'm stealing these." And she's like, "Take as much as you want. All you got to do is go redeem them." So I've taken an R1, a YZF R1 and YZF R6 and a Mustang around Mid-Ohio.
Nice.
It's kind of scary.
As it should
But
be.
I like it.
That's for you, Jeff.
Yeah.
So just because, so you know what the whole deal with the cease and desist, it's because they're emblems on the car that you modified.
That's literally the only thing they can. That's literally the one thing they will fuck with you.
Yeah, the emblem and the Ferrari nameplate.
Because Whistling Diesel, he never got a cease and desist, and he did all that fucked up shit to his Ferrari. But the guy there was a DJ.
No. He didn't modify his Ferrari. He just drove to the cornfield and burned it down.
Well, yeah, no, but he was beating the piss out of that thing. But there was a DJ, and he bought a Ferrari,
Marshmallow.
and he put his logo and replaced it, called it a Ferrari, and Ferrari's like, yeah, we don't play that game.
No, that's the kind of stuff Benji was just saying is they do that. Lambo's just as bad. I mean, the big name companies like that. I mean, it's kind of like you're disgracing the brand basically when you do stuff, when you mess with their logos and their plates and stuff.
Well, Lamborghini doesn't really care.
Not as
Lamborghini's like, you paid for it. Do what you want.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just whatever, to each their own company. You know what I mean? It's just,
Well,
I mean, but usually most of the time it's quite a different buyer who's buying Lamborghinis to Ferraris.
Oh yeah,
it is. It's a lot different.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't think I am. But if you own a Ferrari, you basically have to drive it multiple times a year, or else it will start to break.
That's any high performance car, absolutely.
Well, this is true.
Really?
But apparently Ferrari's the worst at it.
I would say Ferrari and McLaren is probably the worst.
Just sitting if you don't drive it enough, Benji.
Well, and here's why: those motors are so tuned to perfection. And I, as much as I'm not a Ferrari guy, I will say their motors are perfect. They're so tuned to perfection that the just sitting will ruin them. Like, to the point, if you let it sit for 6 to 8 months without starting it, you will get nothing but white smoke for another 3-4 days of driving.
Wow.
Out your exhaust.
I never knew that.
McLaren has a lot of suspension problems. If you allow it to set too long, they'll start leaking. There's like some actuators on top. That's kind of like the suspension is here, and there's a little ball that sits to the side. This little ball starts going bad. They start going bad anyways after X amount of time because it's a high performance, setup. But if you don't, the car because it has the lifts on it through hydraulic, and it just starts going lower
They
and lower.
need to be used.
Yeah, you have to go and raise it up and raise it down. Same thing with the spoilers on the back. They need to actuate to get the fluids to flow. Yeah, so there's a little bit of like engineering, but it also, the person has to go in there and spend time with the car.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's one of those cars that is, say if I had the money to go buy it just to say I have it drove it once. After that, if I would let it sit, that's the issues I'd be running into. If I tried to go, like Jeff said, 6 or 8 months later, I'd have these issues from it because it was meant to be driven, basically.
Well, and like Benji and I were just saying, the Ferrari and McLaren and there's a couple of them have issues like that. But apparently Lamborghini doesn't have that problem. Have you ever seen the YouTube channel?
I wonder if it's because Lamborghini uses Audi parts.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't it the high dollar Audi basically is all that is?
Bugatti uses mostly Volkswagen parts.
Yep.
I saw a guy the other day.
Who's Rolls Royce? Rolls Royce is Mercedes. Ferrari is Ferrari.
Ferrari is the only company that's still owned by their own thing. Old Man Ferrari won't sell that place.
No.
But if you've ever seen the channel, there's a YouTube channel called Goon Squad. And Wally, I kid you not, these guys are just like the guys we went to high school with. But what they do is they buy wrecked vehicles and then they fix them. And they bought a Ferrari and they fixed it up. And then they put it aside to fix on the next one. The next time they started that Ferrari, white smoke like you read about.
Wow.
Yeah, they don't ever drive. They don't drive a lot of their cars, and it's quite disappointing.
They drive the shit out of it.
I feel like it's mostly just for stunts, and then they're done with it.
Yeah. It's quite disappointing.
Well, they sell
the Ferrari
a lot
one was probably
later.
one of my favorite builds they did.
That was a beautiful car.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen there's a girl, and I'll send you the link, Benji. I'll DM it to your
hopefully text message.
Yeah,
I'll send it to your. I'll comment on one of your videos on YouTube. But there's this girl. She bought a Ferrari, and she had one of those wide body kits put on it, Liberty Walk, whatever it is. But Ferrari didn't necessarily have a problem with her car, but the dealership was like, "You got to change that color," because she had I think it was like a Honda blue. Beautiful blue.
Yeah, it wasn't one of a spec. It wasn't a spec color whatsoever.
It was a beautiful color. Really? But the Ferrari dealership, they still worked on the car, but they're like, we want to use this in our photo shoot, but we can't because it's that fucking blue.
Because it's not a factory Ferrari color, basically what they said.
Yeah.
What they actually produced of it. Gotcha.
And she just got offered 3 times what she paid for the car, and she kept it. She didn't sell
Amelia Hartford, I think is her name.
Yeah, that's her.
That.
Yeah.
Well, she's in the movie Gran Turismo.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. She was one of the characters at the school.
Oh well, there you go. Excellent movie.
So, fantastic movie.
I was gonna say, since you brought that up, what was your opinion on that movie? I really enjoyed it for what it was. For coming to the video game world to reality world. What did you think of it, Benji? I mean, your personal opinion on it, especially since
as
you're
a Formula One guy
and stuff,
So
being into that.
Dude, I was playing Gran Turismo since Gran Turismo 1. So
Same
like Gran Turismo. I think it's, as a track racing game, I think it was especially early PlayStation 2 going into PlayStation 3. I think it was one of the, hands down, you couldn't get any better as a track racing game. Street racing game, I was a Tokyo Extreme Racer guy. But man, I mean, I thought it was, I didn't even know the story, right? So I kind of went in like, what is this movie going to be about? Yeah. When I left, I was like, holy crap, this is a good movie.
Well, we really enjoyed it. I mean,
I enjoyed it until I did the research and found out that it's 90% fake.
So
the story of the actual guy, it's a true story, but he didn't go top tier like he does in the movie. He goes,
no, he does not.
No, but I mean, it's just still the aspect of the movie. Like Benji said, it was badass. I mean, it was literally, it was awesome.
It grasps you from the start, and if you're a car guy, you're instantly hooked as soon as you're in the movie.
Oh yeah.
And being Gran Turismo the game, any car guy out there that hasn't played it is not a real car guy. Unless you're like my dad, who's like 90, you know.
I don't even know if there were such things as sim racers back then.
Yeah, Atari 64.
Like that. Yeah. Not even on
so it was kind of weird. It was kind of goofy, right? So I mean, 90% of the movie has to be fake because none of that stuff was even the technology wasn't there. So it's kind of goofy, but I understand. I mean, really fun movie to watch. You know, pulls at the heartstrings a little bit, right?
That wreck
especially
was
when the
scary
accident happens. You could, you know, that could mess anybody up, ever. You know, if that ever happens. So it was tough, but I mean, he still races. You know, he's not, you know, some high end person, but I mean, he's still on the circuit and does a little bit.
Well, you know, and hats off to the guy. Hats off to the guy because he literally started in his fucking computer desk, and now he's getting paid to drive. I mean, let's be honest, that's the dream.
It would be fun.
But I mean, that'd be awesome, especially that. I mean, it's just like a lot of the guys that on the grassroots racing, their dream is to make it big for like NASCAR, a Formula, you know, anything like that. Sometimes you get it. Sometimes you're gonna be grassroots no matter what, or you just quit because you get
cost.
I've seen a lot. Well, I've seen a lot of the guys that I've grown up around, especially in the dirt track racing community. There's maybe 20 of them left that are actually big time into the Lucas Oil late model series now. I mean, but they just kept plugging away. They started out at the bottom, and that's just like with any type of racing. You might get that one lucky time. That would be sick. Some rally racing. Yeah.
Rally racing looks so much fun, but it looks so scary. But how pure adrenaline.
You could totally do that where you live, right? I mean, there has to be like the desert crossings.
Cancun, not necessarily. You got to remember, it is literally opposite side of the country, diagonally. I am on the if Mexico is a backwards J, I'm at the tip of the J, and it starts at the top.
Road trip.
Yeah.
Road trip, bud.
Not necessarily the country you want to road trip anywhere in. Because there's like one of my and I get made fun of this all the time. I think the OBS Silverados are some of the sexiest trucks ever built. You cannot drive them cross country here. You will not make it. Not because of the truck, because your truck will be stolen by force.
You know, it's not only that. Down there, their biggest problem is the old muscle cars, everything. Where you actually like being up here. That is a big thing down there. I mean, the classic cars are huge down there.
But you can find them.
Yeah, but back to the Benji and the Formula One racing. Who's some of your favorite racers that you've actually idolized and everything else that you really follow heavy? Current and past racers that you're big into, man?
I mean, I guess growing up, I live in North Carolina, so everything's NASCAR.
Right, I get
it. And I don't mind NASCAR. I won't watch 99% of it. I'm just not into another left turn. I will watch it when it's on like circuit tracks when I go to Vegas or that's pretty fun. But I wish they would make the tracks a little wider. So because these cars, they list so far to the left or right. It's not Formula One cars where they're just planted to the ground. So I wish the tracks were wider so I could get more passing angles. But I guess kind of growing up, I like Jeff Gordon.
Like, yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah, I thought he was a pretty decent driver. You didn't hear much drama about him. He just got in there and just went.
Well, and that's the thing is too. Growing up for me, I mean, basically that was supposed to be Dale Sr.'s replacement in NASCAR. Was supposed to be Gordon because I mean he pretty much passed in the torch after Gordon won the. I mean, I remember watching it. NASCAR used to be fun like most of everything else here until money really got involved, and it's all about, as I put it, glitz and glamour. Now you get more of a off show than you do the actual product most of the time, especially on TV because it's TV time. But live, I mean, a lot of these live races, it's nice to see, but a lot of people don't see behind the scenes. Oh, I watched that on TV, and they had this circus show basically showing was like, you got to be at the event. It's not like the
Right.
circus show you're seeing on TV kind of thing. And but yeah, NASCAR's kind of got away from the grassroots of what it is. So me and the boys kind of steered away from NASCAR because it's not what it used to be, especially when he was younger and why I grew up and me, you, and Jeff grew up. I mean, it's not what it was.
No, I would agree with that. I mean, the fanship isn't there, and I think a lot of the fans that kind of remember those good times and would look now that it's not the same product, and I think it's aged out. I think what they need to do is they need to bring in more road courses because the younger 100%. Generation is about these road courses, and these younger generations are not going and buying Chevy Malibus. They're
right.
They're not. They're going and trying to buy,
an Audi 8, an Audi.
I think they need to bring in some more foreign manufacturers in because you got Ford and Chevy racing in their stuff. So it's right. But I mean, who do we have? We have Toyota, right? Is it just Toyota?
Right. Toyota's in there.
That's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I mean, that Toyota is so Americanized now. It's just like
it might as well be another Chevy Caprice, right?
Bring some real. Bring like Aston Martin. I'd love to see Aston Martin come over.
Mercedes would be another one. I mean, they got cars that they can resemble to a NASCAR in a way.
Correct. You could do the AMG GT Black Series, I believe. Aston Martin could do like the Vanquish.
Nice.
They've really been working on it. Even if you got just a bunch of C63 Mercedes, they're sedans.
4 doors in NASCAR? Is that what the
and the C63 is a 4-door. So the C63, which is it's a V8
correct
stock, so and it's a 4-door, so you can run those. Aston Martin, I can't off the top of my head think they have a lot of 4-doors.
I don't think they do, so they wouldn't work. See, I don't know enough about them.
But Porsche has their Panorama, so you can throw that in there.
Close, close. Panamera. But
the Panamera. I see 4 or 5 of those running around up here where we live. Me and the boy live.
I want one. I don't care that they're ugly. I want one. I think they're cool.
Yeah, I drove a GTS. It was really nice. Heavy though. It's heavy. You can feel how heavy it is.
Well, I just saw a documentary today about Mercedes signing a $10 billion contract trying to get a fire-resistant car for NASCAR.
Really?
So what they're doing is they're going to sign with NASCAR to get their Mercedes out on the line to make more money.
Basically doing the test runs and stuff.
That would be great for the sport.
Yeah, because it's bringing in like you said, Benji, bring in the people that are in
European
the
market
car scene. It'll pull more people in and a newer audience, like you were explaining earlier.
Yeah, because if you're new people that you want to watch the sport are going on YouTube, they're not pulling up Chevy Malibus and Illuminas and whatever the older stuff
or whatever.
is. Yeah, they're going and watching the new stuff. So you have to figure out a way to bring the new market or the new consumer in, right? So you're going to have to bring in these foreign cars to build the hype up. They do it all the time in the European countries. That's why Chevy and Ford's over there racing in the GT series.
And you gotta start adding more road courses because nothing is more boring than 4 left fucking turns.
Those road courses when they brought in for NASCAR I think you can ask my son. We actually half the time if we remember or if we're not doing something with his sister sports wise, we try to watch the road course version of the NASCAR. I always used to get excited watching, Talladega and stuff. But when they introduced the road course, it made it where the drivers. I remember when Juan Montoya was always the favorite whenever it came to a road course race. But the thing is, Benji, like Benji said though, Jeff Gordon figured out the couple of road course races, and he was dominating. And it's like this dude, all he's ever done is dirt track and asphalt, and then he's picked up on this stuff. Dogs.
No, that's fine. No, but I mean that's the beauty of something like and controversial, but Jeff Gordon is kind of like at least back in the 90s, he was the Lewis Hamilton of NASCAR. Everybody knew his name, especially after Dale died. It's one of those things. The road course, the problem with NASCAR, the greatest thing to come out of NASCAR was Le Mans last year, the 24-hour Le Mans, where they put that NASCAR car in Le Mans. Another day, another bucket list. I want to go to the 24-hour Le Mans.
I mean, NASCAR's version, though, Jeff, they're trying. They think by bringing that in, I hate to say it, they think bringing doing the Le Mans like that over here with this
switch
stuff,
people back over to NASCAR.
But it's not going to happen. Benji brought the prime example. You've got to have, once again, you've got to bring in the European style cars because people are not going to get drawn in. My sons are part of that generation and up that are more into that than the muscle cars. They like the muscle cars, but they also like seeing the foreign.
So here's the other problem with NASCAR, right?
Well,
so they all look the same. It's just the only difference is stickers on the car, right?
Yep.
Agreed.
And so that's the tough part. When you can distinctly look at the difference between Mercedes, BMW, Ferrari, Lamborghini, they're all distinct. They're like you have your car and you go race it. You just have to meet these certain specs.
Right.
Well, doesn't NASCAR, don't they have like a universal body style that they use that they just put the stickers on? I think that ruins
this guide that they can slide over the car, right?
Which ruins the whole
weird.
Well, the thing is, their motor specs for NASCAR is a 358 cubic inch motor. Yes, Ford has it, but the funny thing is, it's just Ford stickers. They're all GM freaking motors that are under those cars.
Yeah.
Because that's the specs. Because Ford, and when Dodge was even in it, they could not come up with something to meet the specs of that 358 cubic inch limit. So they pretty much that's why everybody can interchange motor parts. Hey, I need this extra part.
the motor, that doesn't bother me. The body shape of the car, it literally just looks like a weird bubble, which gets annoying. And until the camera focuses long enough to see what the car is or who the number, then so that's Bob winning. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. But it needs to go back to the ways it was when Petty raced the damn Superbird. You see back then they had the mixture of cars. Nowadays you try to put that.
Well, they weren't fiberglass either.
No.
Right, but people would be bitching. Well, he's got that giant wing to help. But NASCAR back then was built. You had your factory racers with their supercars in a way racing back then. That's how much it's gone away.
I think let's fix this real quick. The four-door aspect.
Go ahead.
So let's fix this real quick. So people don't go and be like, well, F1 they all look the same. True, but if you go and start looking at the different, Ferrari
body styles,
they're different, especially on the side skirts, how they pull out the aerodynamics and all this stuff. They're all tweaked differently. So there's not just one uniform body that everyone gets. You go tinker with your motor. But NASCAR is the only one that I can think of. It's just like everybody gets the same. It's like
here's a shell, build a frame on it. And the frames are pretty much the same.
It's just
here's your $20 million to put a Ford logo or put the bow tie sticker on the front of it. But yet we're not racing technically. We're still just racing GM, but you got the Ford stickers on your car. You got the Dodge.
I'll tell you what else would be fun. Let's do it like they do like in the 24 hours or the 12 hours or the 8-hour races. Let's throw the Infinity Series and NASCAR at the same time on the same track. You're bobbing and weaving. Everyone is.
It'd be really interesting.
It would be super fun because that's what they do in Europe, right? That's when the drivers are freaking good. You start learning how to drift off one so you can know how to pass one. It's just there's so much more technical. It's so technical when it comes to that. It just gets boring when what do you have? 40 cars in NASCAR? 30 cars?
33.
Yeah, it's 43 of the same thing.
Where on the 24-hour Mons, last year they had like 300 cars? In like 6 different classes?
Yeah, so most of them have in the 70s. Most races are in the 70s.
But I mean, it would be awesome because then doing that mixture, you'd actually find out really who the better driver really was. That's what it would boil down to. Instead of, I'm going to draft you, and then I'm going to pass you on the last lap to get the win. You actually, with that mixture, you're going to find out how well you can actually drive.
No
I
rolling
seriously
start.
think-
Everybody's from a standstill. Everything.
Yep.
I just found the solution. We're going to start a car racing series just like in the Pixar Cars 2.
Oh,
You got a
there we
rally
go.
car, a Formula One car, a NASCAR, all those cars, you put them
Mix
all
them
on
all
different
together.
tracks.
There you
Combined.
go.
Yep.
And whoever wins the most at the end wins.
There you
That's
go.
fucking
I
cool
mean, that-
because
I
there's
will
nothing
give
funnier
them-
than a Formula One car on a rally track. I'm just saying.
But I mean, the cars hit basically where Benji was saying. You threw all the high performance. That's the mixture that people want to see, and they did it in a cartoon, but they
Yeah.
can't do it in the real world. That's the sad part, you know.
Well,
Yeah,
the
it's just
problem
so
is
odd.
it's a weird mixture because a rally cars, they're quick on dirt, but you put them on up against a Formula One car, and the Formula One car is going to smoke them. But you put a Formula One car on dirt, and it won't move.
Oh.
But I mean, you'd have to have something like that, Jeff. You'd have to do that every little bit of aspect, throwing every aspect of the racing. You have a little bit of dirt here, a little bit of asphalt. You know, just kind of mix it up, kind of deal. And you really
better
find
yet,
out what's the best.
you go rent a bunch of fucking Fiats, and you grab all the best drivers in the world, and you put them each in this exact same car
There you go.
on different
Let's see what
tracks. Because Lewis Hamilton, one of the greatest drivers ever. Jeff Gordon, one of the greatest drivers ever. But you put them in the exact same car, it's a whole new ball game.
Oh
Yep.
yeah. I mean but once again, that's like you'd go back to, just go to a dealership, buy 12 Fiat. Here, get the 12 best drivers worldwide.
And
Go
put them
race.
on tracks.
We'll say, we'll put you on a road course. We'll give you, we'll say 100.
It's got dirt sections, it's got hills,
Yeah.
it's got curves, it's got a little bit of
see what you
everything,
do,
all on one
and
track.
See what you can do with basically a factory Fiat. Let's see who finishes it.
They used to do
guy-
that race. It used to be on TV, and they don't do
It's
it
called
anymore.
the Trans Am.
Yeah, I don't know why they stopped doing that. 'Cause they did a
There's
lot of it
actually
in
a guy that
Vegas.
does it. I'm actually trying to look him up right now.
Well, Travis
he's in-
Estrada used to do a bunch of it, but hey,
Oh,
they-
yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's
his
like,
was just
I haven't heard
his
anything
own
from it in a
thing.
couple years.
The guy I'm talking about, he's a British guy. He actually bought a bunch of land and he built a track. And he buys
Gary
Mini
Mitchell down in
Coopers.
Florida. He's got a mixture down there. He calls it the Danger Ranger race that he has his own track down in Florida. He has a mixture of kind of shit. He'll do a side thing of the asphalt and the dirt mixed in with it with 2-wheel drive Rangers that he brings in random mega stars to race this, and he does like 500 laps with them. It's like his version, but you get 2 drivers. It's kind of neat. It's like a Le Mans deal, but he does it all in Rangers or Crown
Mark
Vic.
McCann.
Yeah.
Mark McCann is his name. He's got a
Yeah.
Oh, I know
YouTube
what
channel.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
He used to be a professional racer, though. He's got a hell of a car collection.
Oh,
Yeah,
beautiful car
he's got a
collection.
lot of cars.
But he built a kind of a track in
Yeah,
his
it's a dirt
backyard.
track. I don't think he uses it anymore, though.
Oh no, he just redid it.
Yeah, well, then he's going to go start back to using it again.
Yeah.
Yep. That's,
Well, he got that
I like him.
off-road Lamborghini and he jumped it. It was awesome.
I like
That is
Mark.
an excellent channel. His channel is really good.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
got good
it's-
stuff.
But yeah, they need to open when it comes to like the NASCAR aspect, road course racing over here in the States, they need to open the door a little more and add more to the road course game. There's a lot of road course good tracks out here. You can get stuff like that and bring in the people, like you were saying, Benji. But I think the heads of NASCAR are scared to try something new. They think they
They don't want to.
stick
Well,
with
they
the
don't
old.
want to offend the original fans,
Well, the
But
Good
they're-
Old Boys
and they're
Club.
bitching about losing
It's
new
not
fans.
dead.
Yeah, the Good Old Boys
Club's
Club,
about
man,
dead.
that doesn't do anything but there's only so much old money, right?
Yeah.
And then old money changes to new hands. That doesn't mean the old money with new hands stays like I'm going to
True
think like
to
my
its
father
roots.
did, right?
Right.
So you have to figure it out. I mean, like, there's a lot of racetracks that struggle, and they really need the help. And it's like VR's right. I mean, I can get to VR in like 89 minutes from my house, and it's a great racetrack. And it would be cool to see more road courses.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
I don't know. I just
Well,
man,
that's just
another left turn. Maybe technology was. I think technology has surpassed another left turn.
a lot of them are grandfathered in.
100%, man. I agree on that too, bud. But
The
that's like
grandfathered in thing.
yeah, it needs time to change. Like motocross with Monster coming in now, they're doing a 2-part series. They do the indoor series basically starting this month through March. Then they hit outdoor series. The tracks for the outdoors ain't nothing like when they do the custom builds for those indoor stadium races. But they've got different sponsors. They've got Husqvarna bringing in their dirt bikes that got into the game. You got KTM that's still big, but they said by 2027, KTM's pulling out of their motorsports deal.
Yeah, because KTM is actually moving more towards road racing.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of the KTM road bikes are sick.
They're going to go to the super bikes. They're going to go to the MotoGP stuff. So they're kind of getting away from the off-road aspect because it's not as popular like the road course stuff is. But once again, it goes back to I'm an old head, but I would like to see something new myself to get my interest to get back into the road course racing, more of stuff like that.
The funny thing when it comes to motocross, to me, anyways, if you trade it to music, it's real punk rock. But it's becoming this weird pop, boring, and like everybody does fucking motocross. Let's do something different. Just like NASCAR, they got to change it up a little bit.
But they won't. That's the thing.
Because it's the problem they have is they have this business model of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, unfortunately, it's broke. They just you have to stay ahead of the game if you're going to succeed in that arena.
I personally think, Jeff, that's the reason Formula One's starting to become popular again, because they are, like Benji said, hitting the newer generation with different things for them to bring them in. My thing is, though, the TV time for me personally, to try to watch it anymore, it goes back to that Flow Racing. That's the only place you can find the shit unless you find replays on YouTube, and then it's not even the whole race.
I was literally going to say the exact same thing.
Le Mans last year, I wanted to watch Le Mans last year, and because they had that NASCAR in there, and they didn't. They had in dash cam live on YouTube.
Yeah.
But then it would cut off for 20 minutes, and then come back in another. And I was like, what a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's tough. So, the boy, what was you going to say?
Here's my mentality. My generation is trying to broaden your old guys' minds. We're trying to make things more wide, more open, especially with these cars. Like, Mazdas and Hondas are becoming more popular than they used to be. They're more drag racing, People are getting out more, doing more things, especially my generation. Like, kids I graduated with all have Mazdas, Mustangs, GTOs, Corvettes, Trans Ams. They're all drag racing and having fun. Me personally, I'm an old school kid. I was raised the old school way. My mind is a one-track mind like my dad's. Even though we butt heads over things, especially when it comes to cars, he's taught me how to broaden my mind with things, especially if it's from a different viewpoint from different people.
Which makes sense.
That's what we're all getting. That's what we're talking about, man. Your younger generation, when the three of us are done and gone, you, your kids, your grandkids are going to be what's going to carry on the tradition. And if we stick with the old and not broaden it now, there ain't going to be no motorsports for us other than.
Well, I'll say this: there won't be any American motorsports. The Europeans do
it a little bit foreign, right? Yeah, you'll have to travel across seas.
So F1.
Although I would love to see a bunch of Honda Civics doing NASCAR, it'd be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. So F1, so you can't look at. I don't look at F1 as a European race, right? F1 is more of a world. It's a world. It races the world.
Yeah.
So I think it's like the ultimate racing, but it's like, but also in Europe there's so many different countries all within a region, and they've got their different manufacturers and all this. They're way more diverse than us, to where it's like we got Chevy, Ford, our big three. Man,
Right.
You have the big one, and then literally 100 miles down, you've got their big one. 100 miles down, they've got another big one, and these guys are all competing with each other. Over here, we get competing, but it's a different type of competition over here.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Weird.
It's who's got the bigger dick.
That's basically That's
basically what it is.
I mean, you look like the horsepower wars from the 70s. It's Ford came out with 426, and then Dodge was like, well, here's your 426, here's a 427, and when Dodge came out with the Hellcat and stuff, I was sitting here like, oh, here we go. Chevy's got something up that works.
Nope.
Ford's got something, and nothing. Dead crickets.
Yeah, for a while, you're right.
Because
the only thing, but the thing is with because I'm a Ford guy. The thing is, a lot of the Ford people, like we'll use example, Buckeye fans that run their mouths a lot. Oh, we got the Ford GT. It doesn't matter. Not everybody and their brother can go out and buy a Ford GT like you could technically can a Hellcat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got that.
The one great thing about the Hellcat is it's quote unquote obtainable.
Yeah.
Where the Ford
unlike
GT,
other cars.
used Ford GT, 2009, how much?
Can't be much, right?
200 grand?
A Ford GT?
Yeah, a legit.
Oh,
Ford
you're
GT.
talking. Oh, yeah, those are expensive.
Used. You're looking at 200 grand.
Yeah,
those
are
now.
Yeah.
But like a used Hellcat, I can get for 60 grand all day long.
Maybe even cheaper.
You go to Copar, you can get one. You can go to Copar and get one for $50.
Yeah.
You got to fix it, but whatever. But there you can get the what's the Camaro that
it was a ZL1.
Yep.
No. The one that it was called the Exorcist. It was 1,000 horsepower.
But the bad part about that one was it was basically the newer version of the CPO drag pack, except it was almost
it cost $100 grand. No, it was $100 grand.
Oh,
welcome to the exotic car world.
Exactly. Yeah. If I'm spending $100 grand on a car to go fast, I'm gonna buy a Benz, or I'm gonna go buy, I'm gonna put a down payment on a Lamborghini because
something like that. I mean,
something that can actually turn.
I was getting ready to say because they can do everything and not just a straight line. So here's another thing, like with the racing versus them to us, right? I call America fair weather racing, like in racing. When
it rains, you try to shut it the fuck down.
Correct. In Europe, if it doesn't matter what the fuck it's doing, they're racing.
Right.
That's it. That's a big problem. And they ain't scared to build a 5 or 6 or 8 mile racetrack either. Over here, it's like, well, can you pack all this in like half a mile? It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No,
and let's be honest, the U.S. has way more space to do it.
They just choose not to.
But no, it comes down to you're not. If you went out and you built U.S.'s version of the Nürburgring, takes the fastest you can do it is 7 minutes. You're never going to find enough races every year to fill it up, to actually pay for itself.
Well, no, you would have to start bringing in European racers over here. You would have to. But what has to change too is TV content, right?
That's where back to that. Yeah.
Stop breaking from fucking commercials all the time.
Also, don't want to hear like NASCAR. Again, I don't hate on NASCAR, but man, when I hear a NASCAR, when someone says they're going to talk about this driver, they've got to list their 37 sponsors before they ever get to what they're talking about. It's like, oh my gosh, man. I do not want to watch a 7-hour commercial.
Show a picture of his car. We can see what his sponsors are. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Just tell me about the driver. What's he doing?
Right.
Yeah,
and we don't. It's back to that. It's old money, wanting to do new, but still want to stay old school, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not working no more. I'm sorry. It's a new era, and I'm ready to see some changes. I'm with Benji. I'd love to see more road courses, especially in NASCAR. I mean, they were bringing in back in the early 2000s. I mean, Juan Montoya, come on, an Indy driver. And then they're like, oh, he's going to dominate road course. Like I said, Jeff Gordon proved you give him enough time, the guys will adapt to these road courses, but people enjoyed it because it was different.
Well, the viewership on a road course is like 3 times what it is on a regular on Daytona.
I'm watching it every single time a road course is on. I'm like, oh, it's a road course. I'll leave it on the channel.
Sweet.
Right.
Lose the remote because I'm good.
The only road course race that NASCAR had, the race that they didn't beat is, of course, is the granddaddy of them all, is Daytona. But you look at the viewership of every other race, like it's Talladega, everything. But you put one of the NASCAR, like in the Sears Point was one of the road courses, right, Benji? I think.
Yep.
Dude, it had
10
times the amount of viewership than Talladega, which was the second best NASCAR race back in the 80s and 90s. It just, the popularity of it killed it. And then all of a sudden, we're going to kind of trickle away from the road courses again.
So
they need to bring them back in.
Let me ask you a question, because you may know this way more than I would. Isn't most of these really good NASCAR tracks set up for a road course? Part of it is, right?
Yes.
Some of it, yes.
Daytona is actually set up for a road course. There's actually, if you look at the view of Daytona, it actually has a road course. They do hold road course races.
Charlotte Motor Speedway is as well, I believe.
Yeah, Charlotte as well.
They revamped that when they put the 4 wide in. They redid the
Z-Max.
Yep.
The Z-Max.
They revamped the track too. It's got a road course. Vegas, like you were talking, they've done that. That was a revamp when they redid the drag strip when they went 4 wide. They revamped the tracks. There's tracks out there for NASCAR that are set up for it, but they don't want to use it. That's the problem.
Agreed.
But they just use them for those late model cars, and I just don't get it, man.
For the asphalt racing, yes.
The stuff there, and the late model. I don't know. They're probably on a channel somewhere. Into the
it's mainly for like if they're having a
TV station, but it's like, do something different. Just, you know what? Don't tell us nothing. Just surprise us with a right turn somewhere, and then watch all the people.
Hi, how are you guys?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How is your guys' day today?
Same old thing. Different day.
Good. Me too.
But yeah.
What are you guys talking about? I want to. I really, really like to talk to people. Please.
Okay.
We're talking about
cars.
You are talking about what?
Cars.
Cars. Like
Cars and racing.
Kind of cars? Like that's
racing cars.
Race cars.
Which ones? Like
all of it.
All race cars. Any car can be a race car if you put a roll cage in it. I'm just saying.
It's true.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And what do you do on this channel?
You want to go?
Same thing. Every day is a different episode.
All the time.
So, what do you do on this channel? Like, what? I am super new here. I'm sorry.
No, you've been here before, Noel.
Yes,
I wanted to ask you.
Oh yes, Jeff. Yes, I know.
Yeah,
yes,
you know me.
Of course. Yes.
Wally.
Yeah, Bub.
Wouldn't it be? Do you think NASCAR would be faster or better if they included drifting?
Nah, not.
That'd be fun.
I feel like it would be a little bit harder.
It would make it interesting.
But at the same time, it's. I mean, it's still not.
What are your thoughts on D1?
Eh.
I love D1 racing. I think it's the greatest thing ever.
I don't see the racing part in it.
I'm not a big fan of it. But
I agree. The rules of D1 are super complicated.
The cars are cool, but it's just the point aspect of it. It's not something I'm into. Really,
it's one of those things that, like, it's an acquired taste, much like NASCAR. You got to be, but there is nothing sexier than seeing whatever vehicle it is, 120 miles an hour sideways. Control.
Yeah.
It's just not. I mean, that's not one of those things that I'm really into. I've watched a couple clips on YouTube. Tried to one time. Drifting's just not. That's not racing to me, man. I'd rather sit and watch. I'd rather watch 24 hours of straight left turns in NASCAR again.
Well, you gotta remember though, drifting started in the mountains of Japan, where it was literally you would start at the bottom or the top, and it was more of a timed event.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you go down a curvy road where you have to slow down for the curves, your time is going to be longer. But if you drift that curve, you can increase your time by 3-4 seconds each corner.
But yeah, I mean, trying to implement that with something like that, nah. I could see like the formula setup, like Benji was talking, bringing in shit like that, but not the drifting, not in something that way.
It would be interesting, yes, but I don't know.
It would be complicated. It would be complicated to implement.
It
but
would be
another
a
thing would be,
pile-up is what it would be.
Yeah, exactly.
Which let's be honest. Well, let's be honest. If you watch Daytona at around 400 laps, that's what it becomes. It becomes a pileup because that's when people start getting tired.
So how do you
that's
fix
when
that? So that's what I want to fix. I actually want
less laps.
crashes, right? I want less crashes,
laps.
more racing. So what you do is you start interjecting slower and faster cars, right? Bring like Infinity Series or the Truck Series in there,
right?
To where
like
you have to be strategic, because otherwise you're going to screw everybody up, right?
Yeah,
that's what I think needs to happen. Because listen, if what is it below? Is it Infinity Series is below NASCAR?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, they get half-ass TV time. There's not that many eyes on it. You maybe get a weekend pass, and that's the only reason you're watching the Infinity Series or the Truck Series. You put those guys on the same track together, there we go.
It's a different story.
Money's going to roll in too.
Well,
and these drivers are going to get a bigger name for themselves quicker,
right?
And not just the people that are in the industry who's going to know them,
right? Exactly.
But not only that, as a business standpoint, the sponsors are going to be coming out of the woodwork,
right?
Not just for the NASCAR cars, but like the NASCAR Truck Series and the Infinity Series. Those guys are going to get better sponsors.
Like Benji said, the drivers get more TV time, more exposure, instead of doing the like
their sponsors are going to be happier
for that Sunday race. That's the only time you see them.
Nice.
This is
that's
what
good grouping.
That's not bad grouping.
For my first time with my boyfriend and his van, I was shooting 2 guns, and yes.
Nice.
He actually taught me, my boyfriend.
Nice.
Yeah. How many yards? How many yards? Distance. Distance to the target.
It was like from it was from like the medium size, like right.
So about
what is that?
About 50 yards. About 50 yards.
About 50 yards.
Yes.
Well, indoor range, 50 yards. That's all.
Oh, what did she say? Indoor range?
It's got to be an indoor range. I'm assuming.
Indoor range,
yeah. So
indoor range.
Yards.
Yeah, it's more like 22. Yeah.
Yeah, which is good.
Still not bad for first time.
First time. Wait, is it very good for the first time? Am I doing correct, or is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, I can do it with my eyes closed, but okay.
Yeah, well, Jeff's over here military trained.
Yeah, my
sniper
taught me how to shoot a gun. Yes,
that's awesome.
Yes.
What were you shooting? What were you shooting?
I was shooting like from my shoulder to like
No.
Like
what gun? What
kind of gun?
A rifle.
What gun?
Okay.
Like a rifle or something, like a big
what
gun,
caliber?
like you pointed. Yes.
What caliber? What caliber? 22, 30-06, 50
No,
cal?
not indoor range. So it's going to be all pistol. So it's going to be the 45, 22, 9mm, 380. Indoor range is going to be all pistol calibers.
That's still good though.
Yeah, good grouping.
I can do it with my eyes closed.
Shut up,
It's
Jeff.
decent
We don't
grouping
care.
for your
We
first
don't
time.
care.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Snowing. Going to
But yeah, if
hockey.
they would do like you said, Benji, with NASCAR, I mean, could you imagine though the audience they would bring in, younger
Oh,
generation,
it would be
mixing all
huge.
three of those together?
Because
tell
you
you
would
what-
actually have 3 different finishes too.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
Even
the,
even in a race that's with another left turn, adding different classes in there changes the whole entire dynamics 100%.
well,
That makes
you know,
it
and
interesting.
the other aspect of it is like you're going to get more passes, but less passing people in your class.
Always.
Oh yeah.
That's
Like,
what you want.
because
You want the complications.
The crazy thing about Formula One, which unfortunately drives people away. How many times does a Formula One car pass another Formula One car? It's not
It's
like
very
20
rare.
times during an entire race.
Nah.
And it's
No,
not,
I disagree with that. I disagree with
how
that.
many times
You
times
actually
do
can see it quite a
first
bit.
place?
You actually
Yeah,
see
that
it
is,
quite
it
a bit.
happens quite a bit, especially if you get like really good drivers that go in and get like a crappy pit, and next thing you know, it they're at the end, they're at the back of the pack.
No, I'm talking about like normal.
No,
Not
there's
pitting.
still,
there's quite a bit
Because
of
in
passing.
NASCAR, you'll see the leadership change of who's in first
That's because it's all
14
done
times in 3
drafting.
laps.
That's
Yeah.
because that's all through drafting. That's a completely different style of racing, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
You got
100%.
43 cars, or let's say you got 20 something cars all in 2 lines.
right.
That's not how it works in Formula
No,
One at all.
the beauty of Formula One comes down to the difficulty level makes NASCAR look like go-karts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hands down.
Because at the end of the
You
day,
barely have a brake. You just let off the gas and push the gas. Let off.
yeah,
Right.
That is not. You're working
Yeah.
both legs, hands. You're trying to keep your neck ajar and not pass out at the wheel from the
the
G-force.
G-forces
it's insane.
on some of those insane.
Right.
It
Well, I
really
mean,
is.
Because you go the different directions. You watch the speeds compared to NASCAR when they do the speeds. You instantly see them when they go into the turn. That speed drops from 200 mile an hour to 110 like that. But like Benji said in Formula, those guys basically, look, I'm letting off and for a second, and then bam, they're right back to where they were once they hit it. I mean,
It really is incredible.
I love the cockpit views until they went to flow racing with it when you used to be able to
What's
watch
that?
it on TV.
I don't like that halo. That halo would drive me nuts if I was driving on Formula One. I get it; it's for safety, but that bar right in the middle. Oh fuck!
I think that bar disappears at 200 miles an hour, though.
Yeah, it's
I
all
think
one-
so,
your
too.
Tunnel vision. Tunnel vision.
Yeah, the tunnel vision
Yeah.
kicks in. I get that, but it would take me at least good 15 laps to get used to that stupid bar in the middle.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I've gotten used to it now. Looking at the cars, I don't. You know what? It's so funny because I look at the cars now, and then I look at the cars without it, and I'm just like, oh, that car without it kind of looks funky. Like
Because it doesn't have that bar.
I like the look of it now. I think it looks more like a complete cockpit.
I'm not the biggest
know.
open wheel guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like it, but it's like open wheel scares the shit out of me.
It's one of those things, like you said. It's everybody's got their cup of tea.
Well, no, but what I mean is like if as a driver, not that I'm a race car driver,
okay.
Yeah.
But
that-
as
it
a
was
driver,
funky.
driving open wheel scares the shit out of me because I've seen
It's wild.
I've
The
seen
wreck.
people come up over top of those wheels and no.
Well,
I'll tell you what, as fast and as gnarly as F1 is, I do not see crazy crashes like I do in all the other racing.
No,
These guys
no.
are top-notch professionals, and they do everything
Well,
they can to
I
not
think
eat
the
each other, but get
downforce-
as close as they can.
I think
Well,
that
my thing
downforce has a lot to play in that too.
Well, the downforce, but my thing is what's surprising every time when I used to watch it all the time when it was on, is when they go over those freaking like berms on the turns. It's like, are they gonna get the air underneath them and take them over, or what? What the deal is? So
It's just not like that anymore. I mean, the
Mm-mm.
tech is so good. I mean, the tires are so sticky. They're so freaking wide.
Oh, the tire
they're just
technology
incredible.
alone is just so.
Drastically
way out
improved.
there. So
Oh,
Yeah, I was watching a old school versus new school tech on an F1 car the other day, and the new car setup beat the old car setup by like 7 seconds on the same track. It just wasn't a comparison. One guy was going into the turn while the other guy was coming off of a straightaway that he had been 2 turns later. Because they're not having to hit the brakes so much. They're downshifting.
Well, because they have the air brakes too.
Yeah,
I mean,
the air brake has drastically improved Formula One, because like even when you see older racing versus today, the air brake will literally not quite stop them dead, but it slows them down so much faster than just regular brakes. Yeah, I'm not mad at it.
No.
I mean it's a neat aspect of racing. I remember when we used to be able to get it all the time on TV, and then Flow Racing came in and they found out a way to make bunches of money off of people. If you want to watch this style racing now, I mean they've hit up all the big drag racing. You can't even watch the Chili Bowl anymore without spending the money to go to Flow Racing for dirt track. I mean, all these big dirt track races too, they want you to go there, but you got to spend almost $200 on a subscription. And half the time, I've done it at a buddy's house, it freezes. It's like you can't.
Right, their technology doesn't keep up.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I think there needs to be, well, back in the day they had the dedicated channels for it. Like, what was it?
Speed TV was a big one.
Speed TV was great.
That's where Flow killed it. Flow Racing ended up killing it because they wanted to be jackasses, and people were. The thing is, with Speed TV, we had a variety of everything.
Speed TV was Speed TV wasn't good. It was great.
It was phenomenal.
Comparatively speaking, it was perfect.
It was phenomenal. I mean, every Friday and Saturday, I look toward, especially Saturdays, what racing are we going to start watching from 8 o'clock in the morning until 2, 3 o'clock, in the Sunday morning, because you had the variety that kept you interested if you were a gearhead. Now it's, NASCAR's on TV. Whoopee. I mean, anymore with me, it's like big deal.
I kind of miss watching the dirt bike riders that would go into the forest, and they're like all beside each other, almost pushing each other over. They're trying to avoid trees. I remember watching that. That was really fun to watch. You don't ever see that anymore.
No, that's. I mean, it's just got to the point. It's the TV, the networking has got to the point. It's back to where the money's at now. Everybody wants. They're all about money. Let's see who we can make the most money off of. But because your streaming's not the greatest, people are spending this money. And I've seen on Facebook where they were complaining because it was cutting out so much. They missed this much, or the finish, or I mean, it's just you got to update it, and it's hard to do when they're doing this stuff. I mean, in TV, you had it all. You had
the
it was so good.
The problem with the streaming service for racing is it's a very niche group.
Yep.
And to do it right, the money that would cost, like look at Netflix when they did that Jake Paul fight.
Oh yeah,
and it kept freezing everybody. It overloaded. So the streaming services for racing, they have that problem a lot. They freeze up because for the simple fact they don't have the bandwidth to keep up with the demand, but yet they don't have the money to upgrade because it's such a niche group. It would be better just hold it online.
My thing with Flow Racing is what I don't understand is what they charge. What are they spending that money on? They keep saying they want to make their product better by for your visual viewing, but every time you turn around, a big money race is on. Like they did about 24 hours of Le Mans. They lost half of their audience because it froze. Yeah. And they supposedly updated everything for that to happen.
Which, by the way, I watched as much as I could on YouTube. Granted, YouTube only showed mostly it would show weird clips, and it was like 10 minutes behind. but I watched 90% of it on YouTube better than I could have on Flow.
Yeah, because it was there. But I mean, it's just the sad part is that's a big name company. They're actually the ones that bought Speed TV out to create the online racing scene to cover all these major
That's
races.
funny. I've never even heard of Flow TV.
I think what the problem is.
Yeah,
it's like Netflix.
Okay, never even heard of it.
Yeah, but
I don't do much technology, so I don't know.
No,
yeah,
but that's where a lot of the
I don't even know what's that.
I do not.
They have it on there.
Yeah.
That's where they show a lot of the racing on there, especially here in the state, over here with us, like your big drag racing, big dirt track late model stuff. It's on there now, and they just charge an arm and a leg. Us average Joes can't afford a monthly.
You know what would be something really good of a business idea is you go to races with like 5 or 6 buddies and you each set up in different spots and all go live onto one channel like we do here.
But the bad part is you got to have the permission from these. The thing is,
not if you're going live.
But the thing is, a lot of these tracks now, Jeff, you have to have credentials now to do this stuff because they check them even on your phone.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I've watched people literally for the No Prep Kings, Street Outlaws,
right?
Somebody at Trails went Facebook Live. They literally cut them off their stream, found where they were streaming, and shut their live stream off because they didn't have credentials to, press release.
I'm sure that started in like football and stuff like that because that's what I would do.
More than likely.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
But
because I mean that would make sense.
Benji, you ever get some free time again, man? I'd love to have you up on here again. It's been a great night talking. Jeff, thanks for coming up with me. Thanks, son, for jumping in with us and talking. I think we're going to wrap this up tonight, guys, and thank you all for coming on and everybody that was in the chat.
Real quick,
Speedway stories and stuff.
Don't forget bio.link/nonsensical network everywhere we do our thing. And of course, if in there is the link to Beauty in the Beard, which is our new merch store. Nikki's making merch for us, Benji. Yes, and then, of course, we also still have the nonsensical-nonsense.myspreadshop.com. And I'm supposed to not say it anymore, but you can spread us on you.
Yeah.
I like
with
it.
our merch.
So thank you guys for coming on and everything else, and we'll catch you guys later. Thanks, Benji. I appreciate it, man. I'll talk to you guys later.
Later, bud. Go ahead and hit that end stream and let's get out of here.
Nonsensical network, different flavor every day. Movie talks, new flicks hitting the display. Microphone magic, musicians spill the praise. From reptiles to motorsports, burning rubber craze. Football clashes, touchdowns, epic plays. News spinning, catching on the latest phase. Gleaming cars, engines roaring up the pace. Street tales, urban stories we embrace. Tune in, every week diverse. Groove to the beats, let the rhythm immerse. Lyrics flowing, ciphers full of verse. Nonsensical network, feel the universe. Interviews buzzing, stars in the circuit. Worlds of tapestry, pieces we interpret. Hip-hop to rap, the flow never stagnant. Reptilian tales, nature's arrangement. Cars with muscle, engines with might. Motorsports roaring, speed in the night. Discussions heated, always a delight. Network of nonsense, but the vibe's just right. Tune in,